All right, y'all, we are live again on this beautiful Tuesday. May God bless everybody in Jesus' name. I do pray everyone's family super blesses. The world is super volatile, and so is crypto. And here we are. Man, sheesh, guys, I can't believe it. My computer completely just backfired on me. Yesterday, somebody took the green wall I usually stream in front of and painted a picture of a garage, the inside of a garage. And today, my computer freezes, man. I need some more coffee. There we go. There we go. All right, man, we have to talk about this Bitcoin price action today because we are, in fact, getting a little bit of a move down from the box that we had drawn on the chart yesterday. In fact, if we take a look over here, yesterday in the Casper Crew VIP Discord, we were looking for a potential rejection from that key level between 107 and 109. And also, yesterday during the live stream, we had marked out this area as very important for Bitcoin because, as we know, not only was this the Golden Pocket 76 zone, but this is also the value area high of the local range. And Bitcoin has indeed gotten moved down. Now, I'm going to be honest, it was probably facilitated by the news that's coming out. I mean, things are very volatile. We've got, wars. We've got rumors of wars. We've got famines, pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places. And we've got all these things going on. We got Donald Trump, the Orange Man himself, tweeting about potentially the U.S. getting involved in wars, leaving the G7, all this kind of stuff, man. And speaking of Trump and his tweets, he does endorse my channel. That's the one thing I do love about Donald Trump.
Make sure to like and subscribe to Jason Casper. He's the best YouTube trader in the world. He's getting huge. Shout out to the Casper Crew.
And so the question really remains, guys, what is likely to happen here with Bitcoin? And I'm going to be honest and say there's a lot of different scenarios that could happen, because in the event of an actual WW3, I mean, where the whole W gets involved. I mean, for the past few years, there's been a lot of W's. But there hasn't been any WWs. All right, the whole W has never gotten involved with the W's. You know what I'm saying? Especially not the West. I mean, the West is always involved, but you know what I mean. Not outright involved. You know what I'm saying? So, if things continue to heat up, especially if there's some kind of an event that shocks the world, let's just put it that way, we could see a very intense drop on the Bitcoin price. All right, because we are at a resistance, and that is a possibility. All right, so I'm going to be talking about things just in general as I'm seeing it right now. One thing I would like to say before I get into the analysis, all right, I myself still feel it in my bones that Bitcoin is going to see a new all-time high this year. All right, that might sound crazy to some people, but I have to be honest. In the event of, let's say, a big event, in the event of a big news event that shocks the world, it could lead to something like the COVID dump and massive pump that ensued afterwards. One thing that people forget, although war is bearish in the immediate short term, war means print money. All right. In fact, that's why they have wars. That's why they have wars. That's why the central bankers fund both sides of all the wars. It's so that they can continue to print more of their fiat currency, right? So, and I'm not saying this to be insensitive. It's just kind of the reality of the situation, guys. So whenever there's war, rich people make money. All right? Everyone gets wrecked in the immediate short term, and then everything pumps. It's very interesting. All right? We got to give a major shout out to everybody in the chat. All right? First of all, major shout out to A Few Things Capital. Tractor trading today. Shout out to ES, No Fear, Just Reality. Shout out to Mr. K, falling knife to 49. That would be a very intense situation, my man. Hopium, copium, a bit of resistance. Epong says, we don't want war. That is bad for humanity. Yeah, it is very bad for humanity, right? Shout out to FitGenius618. He says we need to be self-sufficient. We definitely need to be as self-sufficient as possible, guys. I mean, honestly, as the world gets more volatile, you want to be less and less reliant and dependent upon the systems that you think are never going to go away, like the supply chain and the grocery store and all this, right? That's why it's so important. Got to get out there, get your gardens planted, guys. Get your homesteads going. Now, not only do today, all right, do we have, we've had all these G7 meetings happening. Tomorrow, we have the FOMC federal funds rate. All right, as if the week couldn't get any more volatile, tomorrow, Jerome Powell is going to come out and tell us what the Federal Reserve has decided with interest rates. Now, remember, the purpose of, well, what they say is the reason they're adjusting these interest rates is because they're trying to get inflation down, all right? Now, they have paused interest rates for quite some time, meaning they've stayed the same for quite some time, and they're expecting that the interest rates are going to stay the same also tomorrow. However, we understand that last week, was it last week or was it Monday? I forget, when was CPI? Was that last week? It was CPI. Okay, so look at this, guys, all right? Inflation is actually lower than they were expecting it to be. They were expecting inflation to go up. It actually came in lower. How is this going to now affect the interest rate decision that they're going to make tomorrow? If they happen to cut interest rates, that's going to cause a lot of volatility in the market. And technically speaking, that would be very bullish for risk assets. Because as interest rates go down, people want to get out of the dollar because they're not making as much holding those dang dollars and put their money into risk assets like the S&P 500 and stocks and crypto. Now, I actually sat down with Jerome Powell and I had a little talk with him over Zoom earlier this morning, all right? He had some very interesting things to say to me. He said, Jason, look, I'm telling you, when I come out the closet on Wednesday and I start giving my press conference, we're going to see Bitcoin move like we've never seen it move before. And I was shocked. I was shocked. In fact, you should have seen the range of emotions I felt during the Zoom conversation. I went from this, to this, to this, to this, to this, to this, and finally to this, which is my final form of bullishness and excitement for tomorrow when the interest rate news drops. All right. Now, as you can see, although we did reject from that key level yesterday, we're still just kind of chilling out in this range. Nothing too crazy has happened. Nothing too crazy has happened. All right. Not yet. Shout out to Hopium Copium. Shout out to Manual. No cuts. Odds went up for a hike. Shout out to Wisdom and Chaos. Was war already going on in Ukraine and Iran needed to get dealt with absolutely necessary? Not sure what you mean, but I don't know if I can even say Ukraine and Iran on here, but I just did. I guess I'm a small channel, doesn't really matter, right? Globalism only works if you have a one world government and religion. Yes, that's true. That's why it's my view that the current push for globalism is engineered to fail, so that people say enough of this nonsense crap, let's get a nice good old solution going on, and then the real plan for globalism will just come into play. All right, one that everyone will agree to because everyone's so sick and tired of war and corruption and all that kind of stuff, right? So, got to give a major shout out first of all to BLOFIN. BLOFIN, 10%, 20% cash back over on BLOFIN, everything you deposit. Cheap deal on fees. Also got to give a shout out to Antarctic Exchange. SVIP privileges if you sign up using my link. If you sign up using my link, you get super low fees over on Antarctic. Check out Antarctic, BLOFIN, MEXC, and WEEX. Those are the exchanges I'm currently trading on. Of course, nothing's loaded right now because my computer did die right before the stream. Okay, so let's discuss this Bitcoin price action. All right. Yesterday, we came up to our zone of resistance. We got some bearish divergence, all right, right from the short setup that we gave yesterday in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. All right, so yesterday morning at 9:33 in the New York Open VIP live stream, this was the short for the day, the short scout for the day. We're currently coming down to the point of control of the range. Now remember, Monday is known as false move Mondays. Let's take a look now at our daily time frame here, because I do just want to point out the fact that the daily time frame yesterday did confirm a green dot. And overall, when we're looking at these higher term time frames, things do not look ultra bearish. All right, things do not look ultra bearish. So I want to talk about two potential scenarios right now that I'm currently looking to trade. First of all, we have to recognize that this entire structure right here, we can look at this as a bullish structure, because we came down to a very key support. And as we came down to the key support, as the price was getting lower, we saw the momentum waves getting higher over time, giving us the bullish, uneven butt cheek pattern. All right, you got that big, juicy left cheek, and then on the right, that skinny cheek, like that skinny waitress at the diner with the curly hair, with the Brooklyn accent, still smoking inside like it's 1985. And we got to move to the upside. And we actually made a slightly higher high right here. And so if we're going to look at this as our first big leg to the upside, and we have yet to really see any kind of retracement in this move. I mean, let's be honest, even though we've been ranging here for quite some time, it hasn't really been a retracement. We haven't really even been able to confirm a daily candle below that last low, right? And so we could look at this and say, okay, we expect another leg to the upside, especially given the fact that when we go to the weekly time frame, we are seeing a major continuation pattern for the entire bull market, okay? When we printed this hidden bullish divergence here on the weekly on Market Cipher B, I was expecting all-time highs, which we did get, all right? In fact, not only was I expecting all-time highs, but I was very public about my bullishness ever since the end of April, saying, look, we have a historic Bitcoin signal confirmed. It was that hidden weekly bullish divergence. By the way, guys, if you want to learn all this trading stuff, check out the free course on YouTube. The free course. All right, over on my YouTube in playlists, we got a free trading course, 18 sessions. All right, 18 sessions. Make sure to go check it out for free on YouTube. Only $3.99. All right, so we have this major continuation pattern here on the weekly time frame. And every single time we get this, we get a big breakout of the range. Here we are once again at major resistance, looking to get a big breakout, okay? So, because we have this bullish divergence that has printed here, we would expect, just based on the historical data, an actual big breakout of this range. So what does that mean? It means if we get a retracement, we would be looking for a major support to long a higher low. Right now, as everything stands, if we're going to get a bigger move to the downside, our major support is going to be right around $97,000, give or take. This is the high volume node of the range, all right? We can actually see this level was a major zone of consolidation. This is where all that volume was formed. Then it was our resistance, and we've broken out. So we could get a breakout and a back test, and then another big move to the upside. Right now, if we get some kind of big volatility tomorrow because of interest rates or Trump tweets or something, this is a level that we really need to be watching. Now, if we do come down to this area, what are we going to be watching for? Well, honestly, what I would see here is, I would think we should be watching that we just kind of take out these lows a little bit, get a bounce from that level, and then reclaim this, and do so with bullish divergences on Market Cipher B, right? And we can even see already, like on some of our higher time frames, like the 6 hour, that if we actually do come down for that low, we're already seeing Market Cipher B giving us this kind of a pattern here, right? We're already seeing it kind of give us this nice bottomy pattern here. We can even go to the 4 hour and see it. Wow, would you look at this? We're seeing already the momentum getting higher here. So if we come and take these lows, we're gonna see some nice cheeks there, right? We're gonna see some nice cheeks. And what I like to do is I like to plan in advance for what I want to see before I take a trade, right? Because that's just the way you're gonna like kind of know whether or not to go in, right? This is what I would want to see for that. So this is definitely one scenario that we need to be aware of in the event of a drop to the downside. Now, again, I'm not saying we're going to get a drop to the downside. I'm actually very neutral, just like I was yesterday. And the reason why I'm so neutral right now is because the reality is, on the low time frames, we are simply just trading within this sideways range right here. And we're literally in the exact middle of a sideways range. Meaning, for the last few weeks, Bitcoin right now is at as fair price can be. For the last 5 weeks, isn't that crazy? Bitcoin is literally at fair price. For me, this is just a no trade zone. All right, I didn't even take that trade from yesterday. My brother took it though. Shout out to my brother, Thomas Casper. He came to my house yesterday. He took this trade, man, shorted the exact top. And I'm proud of him, man. Dude's becoming a beast of a trader right now. All right, my younger brother is becoming a great trader right now because he took the free course. Yeah, and really put in the work. He put in the work and he's doing really good right now. So we're literally at fair price here. And so I have to remain neutral. All right. I'm not interested in a long unless we come below this tiny little consolidation, because then the price of Bitcoin is at, like, in my opinion, a low price. We can look to buy low. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And of course, I'm not really interested in any shorts because, well, I'm already in 2 short trades from the top, from the short setup given in the Casper crew. All right, back on May 22nd, right? So short setup given in the Casper crew, long setup given in the Casper crew. These are the 2 positions I'm in right now. And that's why I'm not really interested in any trades unless we come back to the high of the range or back down to the low of the range. And so 97,000, very, very important level to hold. Now, as we're moving into the summer, like I said before, we could be, and I'm not making any predictions here. I'm just getting prepared for the fact that if we do start to see like crazy things happen over the summer leading into the fall, that could set us up for like a big, scary drop leading into a pump. Something very similar to what happened back in the day during the vid. Now, I know times were different during the vid because of the fact that we were in a bear market. This is the vid right here. Big drop, man. And then we get the pump. So in the event of something crazy happening, right, and we do get a big drop, I'm still going to lean towards the big drop culminates in a big pump. Like freak everybody out, all right? And then get one last big pump for the all-time high. If that happens, what would I be looking for? Well, to be honest with you, I would say that the place we would likely bounce from in the event of that happening, and this is something you got to keep on your radar, not because we're saying it's going to come down here, but because if we do start to get a move like that, this area right here is going to be extremely important support. All right, extremely important support. That is going to be the value area high in the POC of the 2024 range. All right. It's also right around the Fibonacci Golden Pocket 786 zone from the last major low to the high. And I think that this scenario would freak out so many people. And it would happen very fast too. Right? And then, you know, we'd probably chill down here for a while, things be super bearish, and then all of a sudden we start to reclaim that low, and then all of a sudden, bam, right? Bitcoin just starts to run like Bitcoin does. We take those highs again, and then we finally get our top, our high, right? That is one scenario I'm actually kind of prepared for. It's an extreme fake out scenario, and I think it could really play out. And the reason why is because, let's be honest, when things get volatile in the world, there's always short-term bearish volatility for Bitcoin, but Bitcoin always comes out on top because people understand what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is a store of value. It's a peer-to-peer means of exchange that isn't linked to geopolitical tensions, right? I mean, the dollar can be weaponized. You can sanction countries and say you can't use our dollar to do trade. And, fiat currencies can be manipulated and they can be devalued and increase in value based on like organizations. But Bitcoin is not like that, right? Bitcoin has no borders, and we've seen many times in the past when bearish things happen in the world, we see Bitcoin pump. I mean, this is when banks in the United States were defaulting and saying we ain't got no money, right? And we saw a big drop on that news. In fact, I remember USDC actually depegged from the dollar during this time. And then immediately after that, this bearish news, I mean, Bitcoin pumps the next week 43%, right? It's pretty crazy how stuff like that happens. So that's why I'm kind of like just trying to think a few steps ahead here, thinking like if we start to free fall dump and lose the bull market trend line, okay, because that would be crazy. We lose the trend line, we change market structure on the weekly time frame. I mean, this would look horrible in the moment, but as soon as we come back above $75,000, that would literally just be a glorified fake out of this range here, right? At the end of the day, that would be us trading this sideways range, right? It would be something like this. We're just back inside the same old range, It wouldn't be much different than what happened back here in the summer of 2024, right? We had our lows, we came down, we got a fake out, bam, right? Except this time it would be much more intense. And this, I admit, this is something that's never happened before. Like during a Bitcoin 4-year cycle, we've never been this close to the end of the 4-year cycle and have seen like one last big move to the downside like that. But it is something that I'm keeping in the back of my mind here. Especially since, a lot of times it's interesting. A lot of times wars start in the fall. That's when things really get heated up. The summer, it seems like the elites kind of take some time off. They go to the beach or whatever. Not saying things don't happen, but then in the fall, things really start to ramp up, it seems, right? And so if that happens in like late August, early September, then we have the rest of the year to really pump like crazy. And it kind of lines up with the whole summer pattern that we've seen here, where like literally, the summer is really super bearish, and then early fall, we start to really pump. Happened in 2023, happened in 2024, could have happened in 2025. Of course, we don't even have to worry about that at all until we start to lose 97K. In fact, we really don't have to worry about that at all until we lose 100K, to be honest with you, because right now we're literally just back into the range here, and this daily green dot could give us like a big pump. Tomorrow we have the news coming out where they might even cut interest rates. That could be bullish as well. So I'm not saying that I expect these things to happen. I'm just saying I'm kind of getting prepared for them to happen because I want to profit on whatever move is going to happen here. Now, New York is going to open in about 50 minutes, less than an hour. And we're going to see what New York's going to do, because this volatility happened after New York closed yesterday. Trump was tweeting some things hinting that the U.S. is going to get involved in a war in the Middle East. And we saw this big drop, right? Just like how this drop was facilitated also by the initial event, the initial attack that happened over there as well. And so we're seeing these little dumps here that are happening on the news. The one interesting thing about these dumps is they are not really able to give us a lower low. All right, we're still maintaining that bullish structure. We are building some liquidity below this area here. right? Around 102. So if New York dumps us, it's very likely that we come out and come down to around 102,000. If New York opens and we start to dump, it's very, very probable that we're going to come down and take out 102.6. But right now, we are holding the local point of control. Let's go to our 1 hour time frame here. Yeah, right now we're currently holding our local point of control right now. So we lose this, very probable we come back down toward these lows. Got to give a major shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Got 1,250 people in here, only 200 likes. Oh my goodness. That hurts my self-esteem so badly. I'll tell you, hurts my self-esteem so badly. I'm feeling like just a dirty old 12-year-old Amish kid sitting on the floor with a sock on the head, glassy eyes, red puffy skin, probably eating an inflammatory diet, haven't shaved in months. Alright? Give me some likes so I can start to feel like this guy, or this guy, or this guy, or this guy, or this guy. But really the goal is to feel like this guy. Alright? Smash up those dang likes, guys. And make sure, if you're looking for some good deals, to sign up to BLOFIN. Alright? Because BLOFIN is really putting it out there for us in the Casper crew. Not only are they offering 20% cash back, but also they're doing regular $100 giveaways. You don't even have to deposit to win the $100 giveaways. And discounted fees. Alright? Also, if you want to join the community where we give the trade setups, like the one from yesterday, the short setup, right from here, check out jasoncaspertrading.com and click the link to join the best trading community in the world, where we have 3 instructors every single day giving you their level of trade setups. Plus, it's a thriving trading community. I've been hanging out in there a lot. Alright? Myself. Shout out to Big Ways. He says, Jason's course changed my life. That's what's up, man. Smoking big doinks in Amish, says Louis. How did I learn to be disciplined? Shout out to J-Boy Bullish. What is going on, J-Boy? How did I learn to be disciplined? It's just a part of my life. I don't know what else to say. I don't think it's something I've learned. I've definitely become more disciplined as I've gotten older. Maybe I'm just addicted to cortisol. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. I just can't live with myself if I wake up in the morning and am lazy. I just can't do it. I can't. So, like, I'll be honest. I really stepped up my discipline when I made the decision to, this is back in the day, I used to wake up, and I don't recommend doing this. I don't know if this is good for you or not. I used to wake up, and I used to do burpees and jump squats immediately after getting out of bed, in the bedroom, all right? I had the coffee pot. This is like 4:30 in the morning. I had the coffee pot on, all right? And I'd go out into the kitchen, and I'd take my cup of coffee that was already brewed for me. I'd put some ice in it, and I'd chug it as fast as I could. Then, I'd go down into the basement, and I'd do pull-ups and push-ups for like 15, 20 minutes. Then I'd take a cold shower and smack myself in the face and say, be a man, Jason. Be a man. The most uncomfortable things you can imagine doing first thing in the morning, you gotta do. That, I feel like, made it so that now, when I'm not doing that, I can be a little bit more disciplined. Because thank God I don't have to do burpees coming right out of bed and take a freezing cold shower in the middle of the winter in the morning after chugging a cup of coffee and doing a whole bunch of pull-ups and push-ups. You know? Give that a shot, alright? Give that a shot. Is Trump a traitor? I don't know. Shout out to a beer. Mark asked the question that I'm not going to answer. Major shout out to Divine Hood, one of the traders in the Casper crew. Crypto Incognito says the course changed his life as well. Shout out to J-Boy Bullish. He says, let's get likes up for Swole JC, not processed food JC. Yeah, seriously, man. There's a bit of liquidity to take between 103 and 105. That's true as well. That's true as well. But the 102 is even more. But yeah, between right around this area as well. Like we can see this liquidity here too. These three lows. All right. So New York opens. If we dump, expect to come down at least, I'd say, to value area low of the range. Just like yesterday, we came up to value area high of the range. And then tomorrow, we're gonna have to wait and see, like, what happens with the interest rates and everything. $100,000 visit seems inevitable. Yeah, and if we do come down to 100,000, I expect that we're gonna come down to 97. Right? I expect, because when we look at the daily time frame, it is really, we don't have anything there. We don't have anything there. Maybe we get a little stop like 97.8. It's a zone, obviously. I'd say the zone is the Fibonacci golden pocket pull from our April 24th low to our high with the golden pocket in the 786. It's a big zone, but that's definitely the next place. What's the longest I've ever fasted for? 11 days, actually. Back in 2013 is the longest. But maybe someday I'll do longer. Morning routine, strong coffee, and a slap in the face. Yeah, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. All right, nowadays my morning routine is I wake up, I pray. I pray. That's always the first thing I do, is I pray. And then I typically do some kind of exercise to get the blood pumping while I listen to the audio Bible. And after I do those things, then I check the charts. You know, shout out to OG Blockchain. Did you miss the freestyle? Yeah, I didn't do one yet. I don't even know if I'm gonna do one, right? Can I switch up the music? It's the same thing every day. You know what? Hexologist Heart? Yes. Yes, I will, man. I will. Thank you for the suggestion. You know? Is immediate pump possible when New York opens? Yes. All right. Yes. So I know I've been kind of like talking bearish here, but the reason why is simply because, well, if I'm personally going to be taking a long trade, price needs to come lower for me to take a long. All right, I'm already long from here, you know. So I'm already in my trade. I'm already in my trade from here. So for me, yeah, we need to come lower in order for me to take a long. Could we just pump up from here? Yes. The daily time frame has confirmed a green dot, and this FUD dump, which was really facilitated by FUD, happened after New York closed during Asia Open. So yes, there's a really good chance we could dump. Pump, I mean, there's a good chance we could pump. And also, actually, believe it or not, even though my brother, he came to our house last night and took this juicy short right from the top, all right? The reason why I actually didn't take the short is because we actually didn't tap into the 786. And so I thought to myself, there's no way Asia's not going to come back and take that high before the drop, right? Of course, then we got a whole bunch of news. We didn't come up to hit that 786, but the fact that we didn't tap into the 786, in my opinion, is another reason why we could see this daily time frame continue to pump us, right? Also, the 2-day time frame looks extremely bullish. And it's really, I'd say the 4-hour right now is what I would be watching for pumpage, all right? 4-hour, this yellow oscillator starts to point up, that's going to be pretty bullish. If not, we have to think to ourselves also, if we're coming down below 102.6, that's going to look super bullish here, right? That's going to look super bullish. Money flow getting higher, momentum getting higher as we are coming down lower. So yeah, I know I've been giving bearish scenarios this whole stream, but I'm kind of like thinking more high time frame right now because the low time frame is so super boring to me. I'm not really interested in trading it. But yeah, absolutely. Could we pump? Yes. You know, overall, we took this low and then we come back for a back test, higher low right here, Fibonacci golden pocket, and technically speaking, this was a FUD dump. All right, so if we ignore it, if we ignore what happened last night based on the news, yeah, this could just continue up to make a higher high, for sure. Now, I'm not a fundamental trader, but I do acknowledge the fact that news does facilitate market movements. But I don't trade the news, you know? It hit the 786, not for me. Didn't hit my 786. What audio Bible do I listen to? I used to listen to the dramatized King James version on YouTube for free. But then I recently got turned on to the Audible, the Word of Promise audio Bible. It's the New King James dramatized. Here's a picture of it. That's what I listen to now. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Shout out to Leonidas, who reads the Bible before trading. Yeah, honestly, for me, prayer and scripture is vital for getting my mind and my heart in the right place before trading. One of the big mistakes I used to run into is trading first thing in the morning without doing any kind of like spiritual or physical work. And that's just setting you up for failure, honestly. I mean, I'm sure some people do it, but it was not good for me, okay? It was not good for me. So, I don't even look at the chart, right? Because there's always that temptation, that early morning phone temptation. And I'm sure it doesn't just apply to trading. I hear of people who wake up in the morning and they have like they pull out Instagram or whatever, and they're scrolling there in bed for like 2 hours, wasting time. For me, it was trading. I'd wake up, I wonder what Bitcoin did overnight, you know, couldn't fall asleep thinking about the dump. And then like, it's the first thing I do is look at the dang chart. And then I'm like taking a stupid trade that I didn't even plan for, losing money. I don't do this at all anymore, all right? I have a rule where I don't take a trade unless I planned for it. So if I wake up in the middle of the night to take a trade, it's because I planned for the trade. But there's always that temptation to emotionally trade first thing in the morning, and that leads to a really bad day, I'll be honest. Nice garage. Thanks. You know, like I said before, somebody painted my green wall with a picture of a garage. Shout out to Bullish on Parade. What's the percentage of the COVID dump on Bitcoin? Let's check, man. Let's check. What was that, March 13th, 2020? I think it was. I remember that like it was yesterday, man. Alright, in one day, well, let's say 2 days, we had a 53% drop. So let's assume we have a 53% drop here. Let's see what that would come down to. Shout out to Crypto Scarface for the super chats. That's gonna take us to $50,000. That would be so insane. Okay, all right. Let's just play that game, guys. Let's just play that game for a second here. Oh man, that's insane to think about. That's insane to think about. Oof. Ah. All right, let's not play that game. Let's read our super chats. Shout out to Crypto Scarface. He says, "Good morning, y'all. Whole month of sideways range. It's time to break to the upside. Let's go." Shout out to KMFA, who says, "Doesn't June 2025 look like November 2021 on Bitcoin Weekly? We could dump and flush alts for a market retest." That means you think the top is in. It does look very similar in the sense that we have the... I mean, it's on a much smaller time frame here, but people are saying it looks similar to this. We have our high, our drop, our double bottom, and then our higher high, and that was the top. We have our high, our drop, our double bottom, the higher high, and then the drop. Yeah, it does look a little bit similar here. It does look a little bit similar. That's true. That's true. Trading this kind of gambling with higher probability to win if you know TA, so I'm not sure if God really supports it. You don't know if God supports trading? Well, something for you to pray about, I suppose. Well, shout out to Crypto Scarface. Appreciate you, bro. Top is not in. Yeah, I feel that the top is not in either, but yeah, Daniel, I'm saying this is not a real garage. I'm saying somebody painted my green screen with a picture of the inside of a garage. Top is definitely not in. Yeah, where's Euphoria and all that stuff? Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's why I just feel in my bones the top is not in. All right, guys, let's see. Can we smash up the likes in 2 minutes? If we can get 1,000 likes in 2 minutes, I'll give away $2,000. $2,000 giveaway in 2 minutes if we get 1,000 likes. All right? I'm in it. $2,000 giveaway if we can get 1,000 likes in 2 minutes. All right, it's 8:58. It can be 9 o'clock. And we get our 1,000 likes, man. I will give away $2,000. Uh-oh. USDT is actually getting a little volatility here. USDT. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Guys, USDT. Let's take a look at this USDT wick here. Let's take a look at this USDT wick. Look at that. Wow. That's so interesting. You know what, guys? Do you know why I know this? Because I had an alert here on USDT. Because really, the thing is, if you set like limit orders, I'm not saying do this, but you can trade the USDT against USDC. If you set limit orders down here at like 99 cents and we get wicks like this, you know, you could just make a little money on that wick. You know, that's like a 1% gain right there. That's like a 1% gain. You know, that happens every now and again. Man, look at that. I wonder what happened there. This happens all the time. But that's a pretty intense wick. You know, see what I'm saying? You set these limit orders down here at these wicks. Same for the shorts. You know, high probability, honestly. Just set these little limit orders here. Short limit order. Make sure you hit the TP back at $1. Long limit order, TP back at $1. I used to do this actually a lot more. I haven't done that in a while. I should probably do that in a while. Alright? I should probably do that. Alright, Tokyo's always doing it. Toko is always doing it. Alright. Alright, sadly we didn't get our likes in time. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We'll do it another time. Guys, I do have to head out. Alright? I've got a lot of things to do on this beautiful day. May the Lord bless everybody in Jesus' name, and I pray that you and your families are blessed. And I will see you guys, Lord willing, tomorrow. Peace.